Hi, Skulls Gamers, everyone! It's me, GenuineParts, and today we are back in If My Heart Had Wings! So, Asa was just telling us, or going to tell us, where she thinks we can store the glider. So let's listen to her, shall we? Kotori goes for it, without hesitation. At times like this, she's the most earnest. Asa seemed like she was holding back as she glanced at Yoru, then pointed towards the lake. Is it really here? The place that Asa had brought us to Windmill Hill. Oh, the place that Asa had brought us to. The area around here is supposed to be part of the Renewable Energy Research Facilities. This place has been opened up as a walking course, so that citizens can enter it freely, but there's nowhere that looks like it would be able to house the glider. However, Asa climbs over the gently sloping hill. Behind her, Yoru was sulkily following her. Asa stopped in front of a large building that had been built on the edge of Windmill Hill. Agea and I both made a face that seemed to say here at the same time. We knew about this building. This had been here since before the windmills were built. It looked like a research facility or a storeroom and had a somewhat mysterious appearance. We just decided amongst ourselves that it was the place for monitoring the water quality of the lake.
昔、あんちゃんたちと忍び込もうとしたことあったよね。
At that time, the door was locked and we couldn't get inside. Asa took a key out of her pocket and opened the door that had been locked.
どうぞ。
The 10-year mystery was about to be solved. As we stepped inside, our hearts pounded. Okay. So that's the workshop we saw earlier. It was a mess inside. There were several desks with outdated computers, documents, cardboard boxes full of junk. To top things off, there were balls of soy sauce and real seasonings placed here and there. I don't know why I slip sometimes in a southern accent. I'm German. And like the most jarring thing for me is I speak English so much that when I talk to my English speaking friends all over the world and I play a game with them in TeamSpeak and I'm not recording it. If I'm cursing, and I could curse in German, I am cursing in German with an American accent. Like, involuntarily. I don't know. I am messed up in the head, I guess. From the things there, it seemed like there were signs of activity. But looking at the room as a whole, it seems like it had been abandoned. Well, it had an air about it that made it feel like it had been deserted and forgotten about.
中はこんな風になってたんだ。
Ah.
ゾンビ映画に出てきそうな雰囲気ね。まだ使われてるの？いえ、もう誰もいません。ずっと昔、おじいちゃんたちが使っていたって言ってました。事務所っていうよりは研究所って感じだよね。何やってたんだろ
う。Agea goes ahead and starts looking at things in the room.
さあ、おじいちゃんは若い頃の道楽だって言ってましたけど。
Why did they leave it here and not have it demolished?
この丘一帯がおじいちゃんのものだからよ。今は自然エネルギーの研究のために貸してるだけ。
So he's a big landowner.
再開発では随分と儲けさせてもらったわ。
Yoru gave a grin as she spoke. He's the chairman of the board for Keifu Academy and seems to be a local celebrity. The reason why he knows my mother might also has something to do with this.
私たち、おじいちゃんから鍵をもらって、時々ここに来てたんです。 この場所が好きだったから。好きだったのは姉さんでしょ。私はついてきてただけだもん。
Yuri was muttering under her breath. The reason why she was so sulky must be because she doesn't want anyone else to use it. Holding back slightly, took a look around the room. Sorry, I'm reading too much today, I guess.
広いけど、ここじゃ作業はできないわね。グライダーを保管するには問題ないんじゃない？あ、いえ、ここじゃないんです。
Asa trots over the back of the room. I think that trot is not a word I know. Passing through the door on the other side. Kotori was overwhelmed by how spacious it was. As I looked up at the high ceiling, my mouth was agape. This isn't so much a garage, it's more like...
ドックよね。
Yes, it's a dock. For building and maintaining ships and airplanes. Well, for ships it would be like... for ships it's a dock, and for airplanes it's a hangar. That's judging by how vastly spacious it is. And the equipment that's in here.
なんでこんなものがこんな場所にあるわけ？おじいちゃんたち、昔趣味で飛行機を作ってたって言ってました。いつも口癖みたいに、わしらはここで青春時代を過ごしたんじゃって。
I love how Kotori is like shell-shocked. She looks like she is completely shocked. As if is Asa's grandfather, then it's possible that this would have been after World War II. They might have gathered scrap and tinkered around with machines.
どうでしょう。バッチリよ。これだけの広さがあれば2台くらいいっぺんに作れちゃうわ。
There's no problem with the space or the equipment, rather there's actually more than we need. It's not that far from the runway either. It would be easier to transport it from here than from the school, which is in the town.
早速運び込みましょう。でもってすぐに修理に取り掛かるのよ。あんちゃんに頼んで車出してもらわないとね。
Wait. Their eyes are sparkling like it's already been decided that we'll be using it, so I stopped them for a moment. Of course, it would be good if we could use it, but for Asa to say that we can use it for nothing in return actually makes me kind of worried. To think that there would be such a great facility here. Is it really okay for us to use it? Asa had a meek look on her face as I asked her.
一つだけ条件があります。
Asa spoke nervously as her voice became quite high-pitched. So it's really not for nothing after all. We brace ourselves for what the condition might be.
私も仲間に入れてください!
As Asa shouted out her intentions, her voice echoed around the quiet dock. It echoed for a while before gradually disappearing.
私、グライダーのこと何も知らないし、何の取り柄もないです。夜ちゃんみたく何でもできればいいんだけど。でも、私も
Don't cry, please.
グライダー作りの仲間に入れてほしいんです。
At the last part, she sounded like she was going to cry, as she did her best to speak her mind.
小鳥。
Kotori had a serious look on her face as she was deep in thought. Kotori had said a few days ago she didn't say that in actual fact she didn't want any new members. She said that in actual fact she didn't want any new members to join. We felt the same way, but of course Kotori understood that given the circumstances, there was no way we could not let someone join.
やっぱりダメでしょうか。
Hey, Asa.
はい。
Why do you want to join us?
え？ グライダーに興味があるから？それとも私たちが楽しそうだったから？
それは。
Asa began to stutter as I asked her a slightly tricky question. We needed to recruit new members anyway, and we would be able to use these amazing facilities, so it should be okay for us to accept unconditionally. But I put those thoughts to the back of my mind. These thoughts that were hard to make sense of felt like they were stuck in my chest.
私、この場所が好きで、ヨルちゃんと二人で時々遊びに来てたんです。ここでおじいちゃんが飛行機を作ってたって言ってたから。
That's what Yura said before. Asa is just interested in things that fly through the sky.
あの日も二人でここに来てました。そしたら湖の向こうから白い飛行機が飛んできて。
A white aircraft?
その時まで私はグライダーっていう名前も知らなかったんです。
それもしかして私たち？いつのフライトだろう。
After thinking it over a little, we suddenly realized. Could it be, was that when we did the first test flight? After completing the main wings, we went on our first test flight. That was also the day that I piloted the glider for the first time. On that day, I flew across the lake to Windmill Hill. Then, when we returned and headed back to the other side of the lake, I noticed that someone was looking up at us. That's it. It was two petite girls. Just like Kotori, they were girls who liked gliders. I remember that that was the impression that I had. So, As and Yoro, were you the ones here at that time?
はい、多分。
What is all this? I hadn't even thought about it until now.
それからまたグライダーが見たくてここで待つようになりました。ほとんど毎日来てたけど。
ウインチが壊れてしばらく飛べなかったのよね。
It appears that during the time Asa was waiting for us.
それからしばらくして、あれは夏休みの終わりくらいだったと思います。家で嫌なことがあって、私ここに一晩中隠れてたんです。気がつくと窓から光が差してて、外に出てみたら明け方の空にすごく綺麗な雲が浮かんでました。
We instinctively reacted with surprise and looked at each other. Could it be?
紫とピンクの空に筆で描いたみたいな一筋の雲が浮かんでて、ヨルちゃんと一緒に見てました。そしたらそこへ。
Without knowing it, I was shaking. Agea held my arm to stop it shaking. Kotori's face went red, and had at some point become engrossed in Asa's story.
グライダーが飛んでました。
見てたんだ、あの時。
あの時はまだそれがグライダーってことすらよく分かってなかったですけどね。ヨルちゃんに教えてもらって、それで分かって。でもずっと見てました。不思議な雲が消えるまでずっと。
Asa put her hand on her left arm and quietly closed her eyes. It was as if she was reliving the scenes of them disappearing, like it was painted on the inside of her eyelids.
それが理由なの？
はい。私、自分に何ができるとか何がしたいのかとかまだよく分かってないけど、でもいても立ってもいられないんです。あの日見た光景が 忘れられないんです。
I noticed that Asa's knees were shaking. It's like she's scared of something. However, even though she was shaking, she didn't give in. She summoned her courage as if there was something that she desperately wanted to bring up.
Kotori?
Agea gave Kotori a gentle pat on the shoulder. Kotori nodded. There was no need to check. We all felt the same way.
あなたしかいないわ。うちの新入部員になれるのは。ようこそソアリング部へ。
As of today, you're one of us. As she was suddenly welcomed into the club, tears welled up in Asa's eyes. Her cheeks already had become red as apples.
本当にいいんですか？だって私グライダーのこと何も知らないし、あの鳥屋もないし。
It's true that to build and fly a glider, you need expert knowledge and techniques.
でも全部の作業がそうってわけじゃないしね。
We were complete beginners a year ago.
皆さんが？
Isn't that right, Kotori?
ええ、何の問題もないわ。ここを貸してもらえるだけでもお釣りが来るくらい助かっちゃうし。それに、
I like
共
the
犯に
music.
しちゃ
The
えば
music is
秘密を
awesome
ばら
right
される
now.
心配もないしね。
It felt like Kotori said something both eloquent yet crooked, but everyone just completely ignored it. The most important thing is your feelings of wanting to fly through the sky.
空を飛びたい気持ち。
If that's how you feel, you'll be fine, right?
うんうん。その通り。というわけだから、今日からよろしくね、朝。
Asa seemed vacant as she wiped away the tears that had accumulated in the corners of her eyes.
はい、よろしくお願いします、先輩。
That's awesome. I have to say that's a really awesome scene because it has the right amount of feels. I don't know why it really touched me, but it did. It really touched me, but it goes to really funny right afterwards. Like when Kotori says the crooked stuff. That's really funny. That's excellent writing, and you know. For how much this game was screwed up in translation and cutting, it's, you know, that's a really awesome visual novel. It's completely blowing my mind, and we haven't seen anything yet because there is a lot more to it that we haven't even got to yet. It's like only the second the second part of this now, and yeah, Kira also well, it's off to a slow start, but I can see to enjoy it. I'm getting into the stuff. I recorded 5 episodes today, and made me happy. And this made me now extra happy because like really touched me. Maybe you noticed it. And now it just goes to happy and upbeat music and it sounds everything is going to be okay from like where we 4 episodes ago where the garage was destroyed and Amane is gone. I love it. I love it. Sorry, I had to rant a bit. Let's continue on. We are not at the end yet. As Asa cheerfully lowered her head in a bow, Yoru sullenly looked away. Aw, let Yoru join too.
私は入らないから。
Yeah, says you now. Looking at her twin sister sulkingly, making her intentions clear, Asa had a troubled expression but a smile then returned to her face. We took another look at the place that we were now able to use. Our heads soon started to fill with all the thoughts of what we would be able to do here.
これでやっと始められるわね。飛ぶための準備をね。
Time, which felt like it was going nowhere, began to feel like it was accelerating. Also, you have a 4th member. You can like reapply for club status. Please come in, come in. Asa's eyes sparkled as she looked at the room that had been tidied up.
夜ちゃん私たちの部屋だよ。狭い。
It does not look cramped. Yoru's eyes seemed to glaze over.
デカブツがどいても狭い部屋は狭いわね。
I hope she kind of warms up to us a bit.
広すぎるよりは狭い方が落ち着くよ。ほら、見て夜ちゃん、隅っこ。
It's not on the small side. That's absolutely not on the small. That's like 2 desks next to each other. That's a massive bed, a dresser. What the heck is big for you then? As she said that, Asa showed her the pilot seat in the corner of the room. However, even though there should be plenty of room for 2 people in here, when we consider that they are granddaughters of the chairman of the board of Keifu Academy, it seems they might think it's a bit cramped. At the moment, I felt the difference in social status.
いいんです。葵さんの部屋も私好きでした。
パパの部屋みたいな匂いがするとか言ってたもんね。
Papa?
言っちゃダメだよ、夜ちゃん。
What? There's only 2 years difference between us. To someone like me, who other people the same age say is quite mature, is kind of depressing to hear that. I think I'd want to have daughters who are cute like Asa and Yoru. Huh. Before that, there would need to be a mama. Yeah. You can use this room as you please. The rules are as I told you before.
はいはい。
Hi. Well then, yes?
お邪魔しまーす。おー、やっと片付いたんだね。お隣に住んでるものでーす。これ、おすそ分け。
What, your naked body? Asa gives a serious bow to Kanako as she comes in, carrying chocolate snacks. Oh, chocolate snacks.
どうぞよろしくお願いします、かなこさん。
はいよ。こちらこそよろしくね。
After receiving the snacks from Kanako, the sisters happily share them between themselves and start eating. I go over Kanako and have a quiet word with her. You seem to pay a lot of attention to these 2. During the daytime, it seems she casually gave some advice to Asa, then pushed her forward.
ん？そうかな。そうかもね。
Kanako, I think Kanako has much of a bigger role than we will see in this playthrough. I think her route is quite intricate and telling us much more of how she's the puppeteer that pulls the strings in the background apparently. So which is it?
困ったことがあったら言ってね。お隣同士助け合っていきましょう。
She's like really the puppet master here, I think.
はい、ありがとうございます。
Well then, I'll leave the rest to you.
はいよ。
I'm relieved that Kanako is taking care of the 2 of them. Asa, Yoru. Thanks for today, for letting us use the place.
いえ、私こそありがとうございました。精一杯頑張りますので。
I just noticed, she also has jewelry. She not.
私は貸すとは言ってないので。
Well, Yoru turns her back to me, then sits straight back down and starts stuffing herself with chocolate. All girls like chocolate. And this ends today's episode. I thank you so much for watching. I extremely enjoyed this episode. It was a real pleasure. And I will see you next time. Bye bye!